kind of one-dimensional, wherein they just want to snowball, get control of mid-game, and straight up lead from there.
Yeah, but then that snowball idea, that fighting, they've been punishing errors of Falcon's AP, Bren. In the past games that they've won, they've been playing better. Maybe that is just what they need. Just kill him.
Maybe just play better and then just play your own game. Let's see if that's going to happen here as Naisu and Ingan brings us the game.
You know, Rockhard, that's the advice I play with. A lot of times when I'm losing on a lose streak, I just say, you know what? I gotta play better.
Welcome to
hey, that's
Mobile
what's gonna happen here.
Legends.
FCAP wants to even out the series. The current world champions now sitting at 1-2 against Aurora here. Ingan, what do you think of the lineups here this time around? Is this the adjustment that Falcons AP Bren needs to get and even out the series?
Yeah, I do agree with the panel that in terms of what they can do, it's not one-dimensional, especially if Kyle TZ manages to snowball early game. They're going to have a lot of options to deal with Aurora's lineup. Fight in the box whenever there are neutral objectives. Go for the macro. If Super Marco decides that he doesn't want to join the fight yet, go in. But okay, Ogwen, very aggressive start once again from the Cho of Ogwen.
Yeah, this is, it's almost like a page out of Renegay's book when he played the Cho even yesterday when we saw that, you know, very aggressive early start, gets them the first blood, but that time, it was worth the risk though, I would say, for Ogwen. He knows it's going to be available later on once he needs it. They just kind of have to adjust some of this early game, and it looks like for Falcons AP Bren, they want to put some pressure on this. They also know, as Kyle TZ's spending a lot of time here, by the way, waiting for Ogwen to come and respond. What they want to do again is play against the fact that Rora's lineup gives them quite a bit of options, some tools to stay and, you know, sustain through some of the fights with this Rafaela pick. Again, another version of the heel man this time around. But ultimately, you've got those 3 purifies you have to go against if you're Falcons AP Bren. So even if you have the death box, like we like to call it from the Eve, you know, the real world manipulation, you've got a couple CCs and the unbreakable taunt that you can use, well, you gotta get through those purifies first.
Yeah, so we can assume that at the very least, Ogwen's gonna have a hard time, even if he has the angle. One purify can disrupt the momentum of his show, like what we see the past 2 games. And Aurora right now, okay, in terms of a mid-game power spike, this is what Midnight was saying, that if ever they get it, a good start, they can just snowball from there as Demon Kite just works on the turtle. They won't even contest anymore. And uncontested, and they want to go for Ogwen!
That was interesting because I don't know if that was the call, because they really turned on that turtle, and then Kyle's like, yeah, I'm out of here, but then Ogwen put him in a position where he knows he doesn't have Flicker either. So I'm surprised he actually went forward for that, and maybe they hesitated on the call if they wanted to go or not. But ultimately, yeah, first blood in the hands of Demon Kite nonetheless. And look at this. Now this is where they put some pressure on Kyle TZ to play around that. Ogwen's still waiting for that level 4 to have that Wave of the Dragon available, so he doesn't have it just yet. Once he does, you can probably expect him to try to make a play now that he has Flicker available again.
Okay, this is the one-dimensional style that the panel has been saying. Just Aurora literally grouping up, gonna utilize Renegade with that Rafaela. Again, a huge pickup onto Ogwen. The Spear of Alpha gets caught up by the Lantern Flare of Yue. 2 kills already for Aurora. And it's all from Demon Kite. Now they go in for Super Marco. Has to pop the Purify. And now they're going to work on the top lane turret.
Man, that's a lot of just kind of extra time and gold that Aurora can go ahead and grab themselves, especially for Domang here. And so Falcons AP Bren in this early portion of the game will find themselves trying to scrap what they can, try to catch up here. And this is always what we see. Like I said, when you have to work through these multiple purifies, but also against the fact that you have a Jushin across from you for Falcons AP Bren, some of their initiations have to be really calculated, because if not, and they're caught out in a bad situation, they're either going to get Spear of Alpha'd. Actually, there's a whole lot over there. Spear of Alpha, but even the Lantern Flare alone is enough to just kind of keep dragging you back. And so, you know, we see some of these limit testing for the damage from Kyle TZ in the mid lane, but so far, Falcons AP Bren have not been able to find much here. On where is that time for them to go ahead and find these pickoffs that they're looking for?
I think now would be a great time for them to contest for the turtle again. They have good position here. Plus, if he manages to cast a good real-world manipulation without being interrupted, FlapTC could just go for the AOG from the backline if ever they decide to escape as Aurora works on the turtle. Again, no contest coming in from Falcons AP Bren. Ogwen evades the Spear of Alpha coming in from Demon Kite. But again, at this point, what do? The panel mentioned this. It's going to be a macro game for Falcons AP Bren. They're going to have to win the lanes that Marco has been going at. The split pushes has to be on point here if they want to extend this game to when Marco, the Bulletproof, has been activated.
Yeah, and this is almost the problem too. You know, so far, nice little check there. But so far, Edward himself has been pretty consistent with this Edith. Might look for a possible pickup here. He does go ahead and get half health more. He's fine though. Still has that form. Spear Destruction going to be thrown too. So nothing that FCAP finds there. They might be trading though. It looks like they're going to go put pressure on the purple. Meanwhile, simultaneously taking the tier 1 in the bottom. Rora seems to be finding all the wins right now at this point. And again, Falcons AP Bren look to be really struggling with UA alone. This is the threat that a Lantern has, where he just continuously throws them around.
And even if Ogwen or FlapTC decides to go for UA, again, the presence of the Purify, he's just going to Purify the Crimson Beacon out. And that's all UA needs. As Few cast the real-world manipulation, he's going to get the stuns though. But UA just working on him with the Lantern Flare. They can go in again. Edward though has the Edith here, gonna force out the flicker from Few. Now the counter engage is on for Falcons AP Bren. They're working on Demon Kite as he spears up Alpha out, and they're gonna get a kill onto Demon Kite. But Ogwen and Few will fall down as well. Here comes Zombing with his Outman Force. They're gonna pick up FlapTC and a triple kill from Edward. Red hot with Edith. The Spear of Destruction is gonna connect, but Super
You don't
Marco,
follow that up.
You don't?
No.
That's literally what the panel's been saying, like a Lunox brilliance, then you're dead.
Oh man, again, they said it on the panel. Edward has been so good on this Edith in this series, but just in general, right?
Not just good.
He's been better than great.
Good.
No, he's been greater than ever.
Greater than ever.
You know what? He's well on the way to getting to greater than ever. But I'll tell you this, the triple kill for Edward after he dealt with some of that pressure earlier on gives him more of that confidence to go ahead and even pump out enough damage while simultaneously being tanky enough to sit on the front. But let's take Edward out of the equation here. UA is doing that himself. And FCAP hasn't had a response. They tried to go ahead and bait that fight in to give them a favor, even with the setup from Few with their RWM, but they might look for it now.
Okay, here's one the kick. Edward goes in as well. FlapTC with the AOG. And this time, Aurora wants to go for more kills. They're going to catch Few! And they're going to catch more! Flap as well will fall in the hands once again of Edward. All 5 kills of Aurora from Legend 0. And now they're just going to extend their lead more by taking a mid lane turret. And even Marco at the top lane wasn't able to push the first turret up top.
And right now, this is just looking too difficult for Falcons AP Bren's lineup. They can't even walk into a bush without possibly dying. Like, that's where it's at right now. Rora has done something from after what happened in game 1. And they've just showed a new hue of this lineup here from Rora, as they've continuously done throughout the regular season to where they now are in the playoffs. And for our current world champions, they're really looking for something with this to work. What kind of pickoff do they need? What kind of itemization do they need? Because, hey, none of them right now are in shape to really fight. This might be a moment where they can try to turn things around, but look at the fight for the purple buff alone.
FalTC still gonna get his purple buff. Real world manipulation coming in from Few plus the AOG. This might be Falcons AP Bren's opening. Edward with the Primal Wrath still alive. FlapTC's gonna fall down in the hands of Doming as they want to go for more. Still no casualties for Aurora. FalTC was able to get this purple, but again, at what cost? FlapTC.
Edward 5-0-2 right now. This is what we're talking about. That triple kill just minutes ago really helped scale into this where he is now. And even so, when you commit so much and you throw so much at Edward, if you're FCAP and he doesn't die, he just pops the Primal Wrath. Next thing you know, he's back. It's kind of demoralizing, you know, if you're Falcons AP Bren. And so this Lord is up. And they might go ahead and try to get in position for this, try to get some information. But we already saw the preview of these team fights. They need to be able to have enough firepower to win these fights. And with the way things are going, this is going to be very difficult. UA alone driving off Flap and Ogwin. This looks like a Lord to take. The spear comes in, but you can't do anything about it as Aurora will secure that Lord take.
And that's when you know that you have a huge lead. No contention whatsoever for the first Lord. The opposing Zushin just zoning you out, even if you're a Gatotkacha who's quite tanky, even if you're Ogwin who's a Cho who's quite mobile. Yu is just literally leading the charge, flashing his light up against Falcon's AP Bren. And even again, if you decide to dive in onto Yue, the Purify is there. There's also the Crimson Beacon. There's also the help coming in from Renegade. So right now, at this point, you don't even have to worry about doming first because Yue is literally on the front lines. And then after you get past Yue, there's doming.
With that, they're going to have to defend here. Kyle just goes and grabs Purple on the other side of the map, trying to get something. Again, this is not the game you want to have as a Nolan 0-0-0. Not much value at all. Almost 11 minutes in. This might be his moment, though, to turn things around with the F-cap. As Lord marches in on the top side, RWM going to be dropped down. They're going to clear this out. They are going to lose that Holy Shield, and Kyle Teasy will now take the orange buff as the rest of the team clears things out. They'll stay in the game. They keep things together here. But we got to start thinking on, is this enough? Is this enough for Falcon's AP Bren to buy time, to hope to turn this situation in their favor? Because the top turn's going down.
AOG from Flap TC just to work on the minions, but the problem is the Zaman Force is there coming in from Doming, plus Demon Kai with his Spear of Alpha. They brought down Flap and Marco. They have minions though. Cal TC going to be able to clear it out, and the discipline will be instilled for Aurora. They got more than what they wanted. First Lord, an inhibitor up top, and you also brought down Bulletproof.
They might be looking to get another turret or two here. Eyes set, mid and bottom, pushing it in. FCAT trying to defend.
Man, they're not even bothered by Kyle TZ's fracture because at this point, they're quite tanky enough, and Falcon's AP Bren also lacks the damage as Aurora clears out all the turrets of the reigning defending champs of the world.
So they go in, take the discipline route. Aurora staying true to the fundamentals here, not taking chances even with the lead that they have, because they can rinse and repeat. Honestly, at this point, rinse and repeat, do the same thing. And for FCAP, looking at the items, they are not where they need to be. Looking at all the lanes here, quite the deficit, even for Super Marco. We say Bulletproof, he's had a hell of a game trying to farm up, trying to just find some space to work with. And he needs quite a bit of time. There's almost, 3,000 gap between him and Domeng here this time around. But that's just the case of the team overall. Really struggling from the early to this point now. And with these Lords coming up. Oof, they might have to make a choice. No Avatar of the Guardian. Kyle might try to pull a miracle out, but look at the push to a bot. That could happen. But right now, Lord for the taking as Rora secures that one.
You know, Yue again doing wonders for this team. We just saw how he solo forced Flap TZ to cast that AOG away. And I mean, Falcon's AP Bren, even with the AOG, they have literally almost zero chance of contesting for that Lord. But without that kit, it's going to be harder and harder for Falcon's AP Bren. But look at Edward.
Goodbye,
They know that Kyle TZ has to work on the macro as Edward pops his Primal Wrath. Gonna try and delay Kyle TZ for the defense here. Super Marco a while ago just casted the Spear of Destruction. It's gonna be a 5-1-4 as Kyle TZ has now recalled. Doming works on Open with his Zaman Force. Real manipulation coming in from view. AOG gonna be casted right in the middle, but gonna be catched up by Demon Kite. Flap TZ is gonna fall down. Now they're working on Open, forcing out his flicker. The Lord is still there. They can work on the Crystal. But still, Falcon's AP Bren gonna clear out everything. Now they're gonna catch once again. Open. Kyle TZ trying to work on Edward. It's just 4 members on the defense, and Demon Kite goes in.